And although playoff action for the Crossroads is still going strong with 5 teams still remaining, let's talk about a team whose season recently ended, but it's still important to note that they should hold their heads up high. I'm talking about the Calhoun Sandcrabs taking on Livonia. The Sandcrabs went into this game as somewhat of a favorite. Remember, they beat the same team in the regular season by only 2 points. Calhoun's rushing offense was up going early, partly thanks to Derek Salinas. This action was early on Friday afternoon at Katy Legacy Stadium. Livonia was able to get their rushing offense going as well. Here's Livonia sophomore Ty Carter rushing it in for a touchdown. But unfortunately, it was a different song for the Sandcrabs, losing in a close game. Final score, 24-21. And the words here are pretty self-explanatory. Hard fought. And here's a word from head coach Whitaker.
We knew going in it was going to be a close game. We told our kids that all week long, that this was going to be you're going to find 4 or 5 plays to decide this football game. It's going to be a 1-possession game. Last year we beat them by 7. We beat them this year by the last-second field goal, and they beat us by a field goal today. So that's the way it's been the last 3 times we played each other. 2 good football teams that know each other very well.
All right, thank you, Coach. And on to the Ganado Indians. We talked about them yesterday and heard from Coach Josh Irvin. And their road to the playoffs just received their next destination. They will be taking on the Marlin Bulldogs for the quarterfinals. This game will be in San Marcos at the Toyota Rattler Stadium. Ganado, seem to be the favorites in this game, posing the better record of 12-1, and the Bulldogs with a record of 10-3 in Class 2A. Kickoff is expected to be at 7 p.m. The first Texas Bedlam in 14 years is officially behind us. But let's talk about a familiar face from the Crossroads who got in on some of the action. Dalton Brooks from Shiner, who was in for the Aggies defense. Brooks led the Aggies in tackles with 9 and 1 assisted tackle. Week 15 for college football has tremendously affected the AP poll, so let's talk about it. After Ohio State's upsetting loss to Michigan, Ohio State lose their number 2 spot and fell to number 7. So still in the top 10, good news for the Longhorns is they secure that number 2 spot after beating the Aggies. Unfortunately for the Aggies, they find themselves completely out of the top 25. Coach Prime and the Buffaloes are the number 20 team, which brings me to your Sunday sports viewer poll, which will be, did the Texas Bedlam live up to your expectations? We know from the sound of things, this is Aggie Town here in the Crossroads. And although things didn't go how you wanted, were you satisfied? And we got 58% that says yes, 35% says no, and 7% is just unsure. And on to the pros. The Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road. Texans taking advantage early on the defensive side of the ball. Trevor Lawrence positioning himself here for a great place, throwing deep, which is then intercepted by Derek Stingley and returned for 31 yards. This came in handy for the Texans. But speaking of Trevor Lawrence, in this next play here you'll see in just a little bit, he was seen scrabbling on the left end, resulting in a 6-yard gain. And this is all happening with 4:20 left in the second quarter. And we want to wish him a speedy recovery as he suffered a concussion and was ruled out for the rest of the game. Reports of a suspension haven't been made to Texas linebacker yet, so we'll make sure that you're aware if and when this happens. The Texans did win the game. Final score, 23-20. And that does it for your sports.